Welcome to Wired WattSmart. Today we're going to jump into our $50 electrical safety check. So this is something that we're offering clients where we come out and we do an assessment of your electrical panel and the electrical system in your house. This is an entry-level inspection. That's why it's 50 bucks. And so I'm going to just jump right in. When is it a good time to have your panel inspected? The short answer is any time. If you've lived in a house for lots of years and you've never had it inspected, that's a great time. If you just bought the house, it's a new house to you, that's a great time to get eyes on that electrical panel and that electrical system. Obviously, you probably had a home inspector in there at some point during that buy process. But keep in mind, home inspectors are kind of trained to find all kinds of different stuff, right? They're not electrical experts. They have some entry level electrical knowledge, but that's it. It's very entry level when it comes to home inspectors. So if you're buying a house and you just bought a house, you just moved in, great time to get a professional out there. If you're selling your house, that's also a great time to have this inspection done, because we're going to give you direction on the stuff that the home inspector is going to find. And that'll give you some time to get those things corrected prior to the sale of your house. So the first thing that we do during this inspection is we start asking you some questions, right? Like, hey, is there anything you've noticed? Is there anything weird? Do you have any lights flickering when appliances are kicking on? Any weird smells? Any burning smells? Pretty much anything that you can think of that would pertain to this electrical conversation between you and the electrician. You want to bring it up at this time. That way, that gives them something to think about as they start the inspection, and that's something that they can definitely look at during this inspection process. So we start at the main panel, and I'm just going to read the checklist and go through it like right off of our inspection report. So panel brand and an approximate age, no recalled obsolete observed, no signs of overheating. We're looking for visual burn marks in there. We're looking for visual corrosion, rust, like if moisture has gotten into it. Moisture will damage circuit breakers. And so, you get a panel that's damp and wet and has lived a life like that over the years, you could have issues, and that's something that we can spot visually. Breakers appear secure and undamaged. No obvious double tapped breakers. What that means is a lot of times we'll see a circuit breaker that has multiple wires just tapped onto it. And that's that's a code violation. That's something that gets flagged. That's something that could potentially cause some fire hazard. We're also looking for double tapped wires on neutral buses. We see that in a lot of older homes, and that's definitely something that also gets flagged in a home inspection report. Is there a main disconnect present, and is it labeled? Is it labeled main disconnect? Is it present? A lot of older panels, there isn't a main disconnect. That's something that we note in this inspection. Is there a panel cover? Believe it or not, we run into this quite a bit, where over the years the panel cover was lost. Somebody took it off to do maintenance, or you had a crafty homeowner that was in there tinkering on his own stuff and they never put the panel cover back on, and it's gone. That happens often, to be honest with you. It's kind of interesting. Um, Grounding and bonding present, and there's a note on here that says visual only. And so what we're looking for is a main grounding wire. And I want to elaborate on the grounding system in a home. And so in an older home, you're supposed to have two ground rods, and then if your plumbing is metal, if you have a big metal drain, a lot of times you'll see a big cast iron drain that goes right from the house directly into the ground. That has to be grounded as well. So you have ground rods, and then any metal bonding system. So gas pipe, water pipes, all that stuff's supposed to be bonded together and grounded together to create your grounding system. Now, that's important. I mean, that's where all your safety originates, is within this grounding and bonding system. And so we visually look for that. We make sure that's in place. If it's not in place, we make notes on that in the report, and we offer solutions on how to get a proper grounding system installed. So that's a big one in the panel section, is visually checking for the grounding and bonding system, and trying to just piece it together and make sure it's there and make sure it's in place. Outside of the panel, we start looking for the other safety issues. The biggest thing here in this inspection is we're looking for GFCI devices in the proper areas, right? So the proper areas, I mean, we could dive really deep into this, but in general, if you're within 6 feet of water, you're supposed to have a GFCI device. And so the other areas of the home that those are required is, in your garages, your kitchen countertops, anything exterior of the house, any outlets on the outside of the house need to be GFCI protected. Unfinished basements, those need to be GFCI protected. So make sure I got them all here. So garages, bathrooms, kitchen countertops, unfinished basements, and I might be missing something. If there's an electrician out there that's listening to this, he's probably thinking, he missed this, because electricians they like to call out other electricians. It's just how it is. So anyways, we're looking for GFCIs in the proper areas. And this is something that I see in so many houses where they're missing GFCIs. And that's a safety issue. GFCIs are put in place to protect personnel when they're using appliances, cords, space heaters. It's a big deal, right? Especially if you have children. It's just a thing that it's a code that was put in place a long, long time ago, and they are around for a reason. So, that's something that we get eyes on. If you don't have them in place, we take counts, we make recommendations. We can get you a price to fix all that stuff. The next part of the inspection is outlets and high load areas. And so this is another part where we're going to be asking you questions like, hey, is there certain outlets that get used more than others? Or there certain areas of the home that have a higher demand that you can point me to? And kind of the goal with this is we're looking for worn out outlets, right? I mean, I think everybody could probably reflect on a time where they went to go plug something into an old outlet and it was loose. Like it was loose and janky. Like it's like, oh man, this thing, it barely plugs in and the cord wants to fall out. That's a loose connection, right? That is a major culprit for starting fires, right? Loose connections start fires. You'll hear me talk about this on a lot of these podcasts, right? Like loose connections, whether it's a loose outlet or loose screw terminals or a loose breaker, a breaker connection in a panel loose connections in general cause issues and they cause fires. So when we're visually inspecting some of these outlets in the house, that's what we're looking for, right? And we're asking these questions to the homeowner because we're just trying to kind of pinpoint, hey, if there's an area of this house that is getting used harder, point us in that direction so we can look at that. What we're going to do is we're going to visually inspect a handful of outlets. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull a cover off. We're going to pull an outlet loose and we're looking for backstabbed receptacles. And so, what that is, and I'm going to go further into this and into some other shows, but, a backstab receptacle is the wires are stabbed right into, the back holes of the outlet versus being wrapped around the screw terminals of the outlet. Backstabbed receptacles, it's not a practice that we install. We don't do it like that. They come loose after time. You have issues with them. Now, I want to be clear, we're not pulling apart every outlet in your house, right? We're going to pull a handful of them out to look for this, right? Like when we pull an outlet out, we're looking for two things. We're looking to make sure that there is a ground wire present, and we're looking to see if the outlets are backstabbed. So we're going to note that in the report. If you do have a bunch of backstabbed outlets at that time, we're going to make you aware of it. We're going to educate you on what a backstab outlet is. And then if you want to look at taking care of that or fixing it, we can give you those options. We're also looking for plug strips, in extension cords. A lot of people have extension cords plugged in their house. It's not a safe practice. It's not something that should be used as a permanent solution. So that kind of ties in with the last section, the general electrical safety, right? So we're looking for overloaded power strips. We're looking for overloaded circuits. We're looking for permanently installed extension cords. I can't tell you how many times I've come into a service call and there is a extension cord running out of the panel up into the attic, and that extension cord's running to a part of the house, powering something up. I've seen that a lot of times. It's not good. It's not how it's supposed to be done. So we're looking for general safety stuff. Some other things that we're looking for is open junction boxes or open splices A real common one I see is with a water heater circuit, right? You'll have the wires coming out of the wall right onto the water heater, open wire nuts right there in plain sight. Now that's a safety issue. Somebody could grab that stuff. A little kid could be, messing around, and they could grab it and they could get shocked, and you could have a dead kid on your hands. Like that's a real scenario. That stuff happens all the time in America where there's accidents like this. And these are preventable accidents, right? Like you have in that same scenario, if that circuit was in a junction box that was grounded properly and has a cover on it, you can't put your hands on it, right? You can't grab it. That's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be child-proofed. That's a big deal there. Some of the other stuff we're looking for, smoke detectors, that's a big one. We're looking to see if smoke detectors are present. You would be very surprised on how many of these older homes just flat out don't have smoke detectors. So if they are present, we're going to look and see the date on them. We're going to check the date on them and see when the last time they were replaced. If they're outdated and they're not working, it's not an expensive thing to replace them, and it's great peace of mind, to have working smoke detectors in your home where your kids live and sleep. It's great peace of mind to know that stuff's updated, it's refreshed, it's new, it's working. The other part to this inspection is it's kind of a Q&A thing, right? So you get to ask your electrician about whatever you want to ask him. Maybe you have some old can lights that are still incandescent bulbs and you want to be educated on replacing those to LED. We can educate you on that. We can make recommendations. We could sell it to you. We can evaluate your panel at this time for a whole home surge protector. If you have a panel that will accept that, we can educate you on that. We can talk about pricing. At the end of the day, this inspection here is, it's a very entry level inspection where we get a professional to get eyes on the basic stuff, right? The stuff that is high safety concern. It's low lying fruit, as I like to call it, right? It's the stuff that a guy can come in there and not spend a ton of time, but really look at the areas that are very susceptible to fire hazards. Like I said, this isn't a 2-hour, like really in-depth thing where we try to check every single thing that we can. This is that entry level half-hour visit in person where we touch on the low-lying fruit per se. And so I think that's about it. I wanted to kind of keep this one a little shorter and just get the quick information out there. There's a ton of value in this $50, guys. You get to meet with an electrician in person. You ask him questions. He's going to evaluate the main stuff in your house. We're going to give you honest assessment as to what you have going on. And then, we're going to get you a quote for any of the work that you want to price for, right? And it's a no pressure thing. We're here to give you the information so you can make informed decisions about the electrical system in your house. And so I'm really looking forward to helping some folks out with this process. Please give us a like, give us a share. Let's get the word out about all the value that we're bringing to the community as your electrical contractor. Get smart. Call WattSmart.